Hello friends, I'm Dee, this is Pete.
Howdy.
We've got a 45-minute balance practice for you, so an express. We're going to get straight into it with a supported fish pose. So bring your bolster behind you. If you don't have a bolster, pillows are useful. Folded or rolled up blanket or plural blankets. Make sure whatever prop you're using is supporting your rib cage. Your arms come above the prop and go out wide, and the back of your head rests on the floor. If the extension of that head's too much for you, then top it up with more pillows, blankets, a block, weight bags, whatever you've got. Now legs can either go long, or if you'd like a little bit of extra hip action, then bring your soles of feet together, knees wide. And you can also bring in some weight bags or other sort of pillows, blankets on your hips as well. Once you've got that right set up for you, then close your eyes down. Allow the whole front side of the body, especially through your chest, to open up. Beautiful words from Rumi. You've probably heard them before, but it's always nice to remind ourselves, especially during some challenging times, that the wound is the place where light enters you. What I've been reminded of over the last few weeks of this stage 4 state of disaster lockdown, that through our suffering, and we often talk about it here at the studio and in classes and stuff, that our injuries are our biggest teachers. What yoga teaches us is that through our suffering, we achieve enlightenment. And that's what Rumi meant, that the wound, that challenge even, that injury, that obstacle, you might like to say, that's the place where light penetrates. So we get En-Light-en-ment. The place where the light comes in. And even when you're feeling at a crossroads, or you're feeling some level of doubt or fear, and we talk about it, you've probably heard me say it 1,000 times, that doubt is a devil and fear is his friend, but when we really break it down, we really talk about the depths of the yogic tradition, the yogic science and the teachings, fear and doubt, they're actually tools for us and teachers. Because the work is about noticing that, oh, I'm in a state of doubt, or I'm in a state of fear, or I'm feeling challenged, or I'm seeing obstacles everywhere. I feel injured or wounded, or struggling. We acknowledge it and we name it. We look at it, we see it, we unpack it, feel it. Where is it? Where's it coming from? That's the work. And when we start to really open up that work, these feelings that we look at, on a superficial level, as being negative and not useful, are actually very useful. So the wound is the place where light enters you. Whatever the wound is for you, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be an injury, a physical injury. It can be some emotion. It can be real, that it's actually happened, or it could be imagined, not real. It's something that's sitting inside of you, which is a fear of the future, a worry of the future. When we start to really unpack and discover what it is, what it looks like, what it feels like, where it's coming from, it enlightens our path. So take 5 more breaths. Start to really notice how you're feeling, what's coming up, if anything, what it is, what it feels like. Maybe even start the process of the work of where it's coming from. This is going to take us into a pec stretch. So we're going to need to make our way onto our bellies. So you're in your own space. If you just want to flip yourself over, then go for it. For us, we're going to peel ourselves up off the bolster. Bring the bolster to your right hand side with your head facing towards the front of the mat. So that's your right hand. And bring your right arm out to the cactus. That's stop sign, half cactus. Elbow, shoulder in line. Wrist, elbow in line. So 90-degree angle at the elbow joint. Left arm underneath the left shoulder. Pushes against the floor to roll you over. Where your bolster is, to hopefully catch your left foot because it's on a rotation. Once you're there, just relax the head, close your eyes. One of my favourite poets and prophets, Khalil Gibran, he writes that your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. Even as the stone of the fruit must break, that its heart may stand in the sun, so must you know pain. And we don't have to look at pain as that defined, physical pain. That pain can be a challenge, an obstacle. The challenge is the breaking of the shell that encompasses your understanding. It's like the universe is giving you a little bit of a earthquake underneath you, a little bit of a shake and rattle and stir. And it's a gift. But quite often we get stuck in it. We have that subjective viewpoint. And we don't want to be in it. And so then we experience the hindrances. There's 5, which are our, attachment is number 1, aversion, number 2, ignorance, our clinging to bodily life, and our restlessness. And so we look at a pain, we look at a wound, we look at a challenge, at an obstacle, like we don't want it, like we run away from it, or we look at it as a problem, as a hindrance. But maybe we could turn that around and see it as the light, the place where the light is able to enter our lives. The breaking of the shell that encloses our understanding, just like a seed must break apart in the soil for it to grow through to reach the sun. Like the lotus plant needs to climb through the mud for it to bloom. Our pain, our wounds is the mud, but the light, enlightenment, the light is there for our understanding. The light is there for our growth. 5 more breaths. Slowly make your way back onto your belly. Very slowly, and just lay there comfortably. Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. Even as the stone of the fruit must break, that its heart may stand in the sun, so must you know pain. We're going to take a thread the needle before we take the other side. So you can choose. You can do the thread the needle from your belly, or you can do the thread the needle from your child's pose. So I'll show you child's pose next, because I'm sure Pete's going to stay on his belly. Slide your right arm in underneath your chest. Left arm either out long or bend it and use it to support your forehead. The child's pose version is you come back onto your knees, hips to heels. Left arm reaches out in front, right arm slides underneath. Same thing, you can take the left arm all the way, or you can bend it and use it as a pillow. If you're on your belly, like Pete, then you could possibly bring in, if this is easy for you and you're not feeling a huge stretch, then you might like to bring in a half frog with your right leg. And so how we do that is you kind of got to roll off this, out of the stretch, bring the right leg out to the side, knee in line with your hip, and then replace that shoulder back down, head down, arm out in front, or support your head in your hand. So there are your 3 options: on your belly, child's pose, or add the knee, add the half frog. It's not often that we look at our struggles and our challenges as gifts and opportunities. We're not taught to. We are taught to run away from them. We're taught to dismiss them or to try and correct them. But what if they're perfect? What if our struggles are meant to be? What if there are opportunities for the light to enter? Opportunities for us to sow our seeds. I see that now. I'm so grateful for my practice, because in these times, Pete and I have small businesses, and at first it was such a shock, and it still is. We look back and go, wow, we've been more or less closed for 5 months. And we've got no clue what the future holds for us or for our small businesses. And, we're not the only ones. There's many, many, many businesses out there that are in the same boat as us. The difference is there are a lot of people out there suffering. And I'm grateful for my practice to remind me that there's more to the story. There's more to the picture than my little mind can see. And so I utilize my yoga practice and go, this is, yes, it's a struggle. Yes, it's challenging and even shocking. But maybe it's a gift. Maybe this is an opportunity, and I can't see it because I'm in it. I can't see it for that right now. Later on, maybe in a year's time, in 5, 10 years' time, we can all look back and go, do you remember? But right now we're in it. So yoga gives us the tools to have this objective viewpoint to go, hang on, even though I can't see the bigger picture, maybe this is an opportunity. This is a light entering. Maybe this is where we sow some seeds for them to flourish later. Maybe we don't need to suffer. The wound is the place where light enters you. The wound, the struggle, is a gift towards enlightenment. Three breaths. Make sure you move out of this slowly. If you're in a child's pose, feel free to stay in your child's pose, but just take the thread the needle out, the shoulders stretch out. Come into a stand with either arms out in front or down by your sides. If you're on your belly, just lay comfortably. We're going to take it over to the other side. So if you used your bolster on the first side, you're going to need to take that over to the other side. However you do that, if you're in child's pose, just grab it, move it over. Set it up for your pec stretch. So now it's your left arm coming out. Make sure your elbow and shoulder are in line with each other. A bit lower peak. That's it. And wrist and elbow are in line. Right hand pushes the right shoulder off the floor. So then you can rotate the spine around, lifting the right hip, right leg, which will then rest on the bolster towards your left. Close your eyes. Sink in. When we start to unpack through the work, the real practice of yoga, when we start to see wounds and challenges and struggles as positive, as opportunities, as gifts, it lightens the load. There's such a weight when we look at struggles and challenges and wounds and pain. By turning it around, it lifts the weight. And instead of having it weigh us down like you're dragging a ball and chain, instead it gives us wings to fly. Got 5 more breaths. As always, moving very gently and slowly, just until you find your way back onto your belly. Comfortably lie there, let that left arm come out of the stretch. This will turn us into that thread the needle. So if you took child's pose version on the first side, then take child's pose again on this side. If you didn't, if you laid on your belly, then stay there with your left arm this time coming underneath the right. Right's either out long or bend your elbow and rest your forehead on your elbow or your forearm. And then the third option is if you're lying on your belly, and only if you feel like you've got enough space in your shoulders, because bringing the knee out adds another dimension of intensity. So only if you've got the range, then it's the same leg as arm. So your left leg comes out into a half frog, where your knee's in line with your hip. And you've got to kind of slight roll out of it, bring the knee out, and then roll back into it. Same thing, right arm either long or bent to rest your forehead on. Relax your head, close your eyes. And maybe start to unpack. Ask yourself, where in my life am I feeling a bit of a wound? Where am I feeling a bit of a struggle or a challenge? And can I see it as a gift? Can I start the process of seeing that wound or that pain as an opportunity? Every injury, every illness I've had, especially over the last 5 or so years, I've learned so much about myself, about my body physically, about my mind mentally, about my emotions, my attachments, my aversions, my ignorance as well. And I'm so grateful for every opportunity, even the really intense ones, even the ones where I've been really sick. At the time, you're in it, so you don't see it. It's not till in hindsight, beautiful thing, you step back and go, wow, I can do this better. This is what I can do better. What yoga's starting to teach us, or starts to teach us at a certain point, is how to see that when we're in it. So right now, we are in the thick of, state of disaster, stage 4 lockdown, businesses being closed, left, right, and centre, big business, small business, all shutting down, shutting up shop for good, people just in all sorts. We're in the thick of it worldwide. So instead of waiting for hindsight to look back and go, yeah, that was tough, but we can laugh about it now, why don't we look at it now and see that, oh, this is actually an opportunity. I might not know exactly what that opportunity is, but I know it's an opportunity, because that's what Rumi is talking about. The wound is a place where the light enters you. light is entering. All we need to do is free ourselves up to be able to notice it, see it, and then to harness it. Rumi was talking about is the light of awareness, the light of enlightenment. The wound Rumi was talking about, anything on any layer. Three more breaths. Slowly unravel yourself out of the pose to lay again comfortably either on your belly, or if you're in child's pose, you can stay in your child's pose. Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. Even as the stone of the fruit must break that its heart may stand in the sun, so must you know pain. We're going to come to a pose called dangling. So we're going to help ourselves up to a standing position. Come up onto all fours, tuck your toes. And then it's a forward fold. And if you know ragdoll, it's a version of ragdoll. And so with your bolster, if you don't have a bolster, you don't need any props. You can utilise a wall. So if you have a wall handy, you can lean your bottom against the wall, feet come out, and then hang over just like a ragdoll. Otherwise, if you've got a bolster, you want the bolster, depending on your range in your legs, bend your knees, bolster into your belly, and then it kind of just supports your chest. If that's too far for you, if you don't have that range through your hamstrings, then you bring the bolster for your head, and then just let your arms dangle. So it's either your arms that are dangling, you'll feel the stretch through your upper back, make sure your knees are slightly bent, or it's your whole upper body that's dangling over, and you'll feel the space between the vertebrae. You don't, like I said, you don't need a bolster at all. You can literally just hang in your ragdoll, and you can have your bottom against a wall for a little bit of extra support. Whatever you choose. Close your eyes.
Allow your neck and shoulders to relax. So let the weight of your head traction your spine. If you have tension in your neck or your shoulders, then you're not going to reap as many benefits from this posture. You got 3 more breaths. Now you don't want to stand up, especially if you suffer from low blood pressure, because you'll probably pass out or get a head spin at least. So just start to bend your knees and come down to a seated or kneeling position, and eventually into a closed child's pose. Not for long, just a moment.
From our closed child's pose, we're going to set up for our myofascial release, which I highly recommend that you release out through your upper back, shoulders and or neck. And so there's many things that you can do. Supported bridge is really useful if you're going to start to release out through your traps. If you're not going to go through your traps, if you're going to go through your mid-back, then just lay flat on your back. So you choose. If you don't have myofascial release balls, if you don't have tennis balls, then just grab a block or a book and release out through your neck. So place the thick book down, tuck your chin, and the edge of the book or the edge of the block is going to massage right at the base of your skull, the top of your neck. The other option is waterfall, legs to the sky. The other option is from your bridge pose, so hips being supported by a bolster. You place one ball. You can do this from your waterfall pose as well, legs towards the sky. One ball underneath your shoulders, very top of shoulders, and then that'll massage out through your traps. The other option is just bolster underneath your knees or off to the side. And the balls, one either side of your spine, at your upper back. You can move your arms up and over,
out, big hug. You can move your pelvis, tilt your pelvis forward and back so you can feel that massage, that little rocking massage of the balls. Or you can literally just let gravity do the work. Take in some big, deep breaths. And about 4 more minutes to release out here.
It's funny how we perceive so-called bad news. The beginning of the year, it was actually the end of last year, but the beginning of the year I realised and confirmed that I had broken my foot and ankle and had to wear a space boot and crutches and all that for a little while, and I was really surprised, but also not surprised at the same time, because it's the natural sort of human instinct for us that people were really like, oh my God, that's awful, so sorry, like, are you okay? You know, can I get anything for you? Which is beautiful, and you know, were you really upset and whatnot? And I was the polar opposite, the total opposite. I didn't feel any grief, any negativity around it. I found it quite comical because I'm a klutz and it's so typical of me to do something like that. And I don't do it in halves. When I do something, I do it well. But I found it, even at the time, without really consciously realising it, I found it as an opportunity. As the light was entering through this wound, I was like, I need to slow down. This is the universe giving me the kick up the butt that I need. And it's wonderful. It's a gift. We're not taught that though. We're taught the drama behind it, the drama around it, the rabbit hole that we go down to. Poor me, oh no, what am I going to do? The work of yoga is to flip things on their head, to see things for what they are. Everything happens for a reason, and everything is an opportunity. The wound is a place where the light enters you. You can choose to see it like that, or you can choose to suffer. Go down that rabbit hole of drama. It's the many, many, many gifts of yoga. So you've got 5 more breaths. Keep doing what you're doing, finish it off. Now, because you're at home, feel free to continue on with this or something else, some more myofascial release. You can pause the stream and do what you need to do and then join us back in. But this is going to take us into our final rest, our Shavasana. And so pop all your props off to the side. Bring any props in that you need, so bolster underneath your knees, eye pillow over your eyes, weight bags, blankets. If you want to lay on your side instead, then you can set yourself up for that option, or your belly. just coming to that final rest where you gain clarity, not stuck in the mind's dramas, but instead seeing things as they really are, as opportunity, as growth, as awareness, as light towards enlightenment. When you find yourself in a dilemma, in a struggle, in a suffering, a challenge, in doubt, in pain, wounded, see if you can look at it differently. See if you can see it instead as a gift. And notice, really notice how it changes the experience instantly. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Help yourself up to a comfortable seated position, palms together at heart center, eyes stay closed. Let's connect with the vibration of Om. Breath in. Thumbs to third eye center, we bow. My heart honours your heart. The light, the seed of the light within me, honours the same light within you. We are one, and together we say Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a beautiful rest of your
Thank you.
evening, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.